Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 5 of The Frisky Whiskey. Tonight we have a very interesting episode for you.
Yes, we do.
Mike D, what do we got going on?
I'm excited for this episode. So this is our Frisky Whiskey events update. So over the weekend, we went to the Big Smoke Meets Whiskey Fest down in Hollywood, Florida at the Hard Rock, the place that has the famous guitar hotel. And it was a great event.
Super fun.
They had all kinds of food.
Tons of food.
I can't even do the count of how many different whiskey booths there were there. So many.
Yeah.
Just so many. And we had a good time. I'm not going to say we lost control, but we had a really good time. We probably got out of control.
Yeah.
A little bit difference from
Yes.
lost to out of control. And like I said, the food was amazing. And I came home with, I counted my cigars. I came home with 38 cigars.
38.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Now,
Unfortunately, I lost my coupon book looking at some really nice Accutron watches. So, it happens.
It was a hot mess, But it was such a good time. And we tried a lot of good whiskeys. And I know in our last show we had talked about, we're going to come back with our top 3. Mm-hmm. But to be honest, T.I., could there have even been a top 3?
Absolutely not.
There's too many good ones.
So between some of the VIP selections, some of the regular ones that they had in general, like just laid out there, way too many options for you to pick a favorite. Way too many options.
And I feel like there was a lot of more new players that were being introduced at this Whiskey Fest that weren't there last year or the year before. Yeah. And, and that's why I'm really excited for our selections tonight. Because we're going to just do some tastings tonight. We're not going to go crazy and make cocktails. But we're going to go through, we're really more new players into the whiskey field, if you will. And we got some really good ones. T.I., why don't you talk about the first one right here?
Yeah, sure. So the first up, we have a relatively new one to the field called Blackened, and this is their cask strength.
And the cool thing about Blackened is it's in partnership with Metallica.
Yeah.
So pull out your Metallica tapes, have some fun. I said tapes, because I'm not old, but pull out your Metallica CDs, tapes, if you will. And this is their new venture, and they're also making a cigar called Blackened. But this is something that's going to be really good. Our other one we got is something called Keeper's Heart, and they're another one that's a new player to the field out of Minneapolis.
Yep.
And they have the Irish tradition that we'll talk about their history soon of how they make their whiskey.
And then we have the Calumet. Oh yeah, I'm excited. That's the Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. So this one was actually really good.
This one was very good. It's their 10-year. Yeah. This is great, and all these you can get at Total Wine and probably a lot of your other local liquor stores. Definitely if you get shipping, you can order it online from wherever. But the Calumet, I can't wait to talk about their history because I am very impressed with who and what they are, and just the fact that they're even making whiskey on top of what they do is really cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
So I think we should dive right in here. What do you think?
Yeah, why not? I say we get started with the Blackened.
Okay, so. The Blackened, here's a history of the Blackened. So it was a collaborative effort between Metallica and Master Distiller and Blender Dave Pickerell. The venture started in early 2018, and sadly, Dave passed away in late 2018. So shortly after the launch of Blackened in 2019, Master Distiller Rob Dietrich joined the team as now the Master Distiller and Blender, and he's the guardian of Dave's legacy blend. So he's keeping this blend going. He's not putting his touch on it. That's such a good story. He's keeping this man's blend going, and that's really awesome. Now, all their whiskeys are aged about 8 years-ish when it comes right down to it. So this Master Blender, Distiller Dave, had these already in his casks, and they were ready to go. But they really partnered with Metallica. Metallica likes their whiskeys.
Yep.
And they really appreciate a good whiskey. And so this is really good. So their distillery is located in Columbus, Ohio. So it's an Ohio whiskey.
Yep.
And pretty soon we're going to do the state of whiskeys. We're going to pick a state.
Not
Kentucky. We're going to go outside of Kentucky, but pick a state like Texas, Illinois, Iowa, or Ohio. And we're going to start doing a series of those, which would be pretty cool. So I'm going to set us up with a drink. You want to talk about the flavor profile?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So kind of going into this, so we're going to have some burnt caramel right up on the front, along with some oak, honey, and cinnamon, probably the allspice. I'm going to say that the finish here is probably going to be your dark fruit flavors, your clove, your mints, right? That's going to be...
Man, smelling this right now. Like, you're not getting that right now. It's in my nose right now, everybody.
And then, of course, the actual like finish of flavor profile will be that nice, smooth, creamy. Some maybe a little touch of butterscotch in there, maple and honey. So I'm expecting a kind of a buttery, kind of spicy at the front. It should be really, really pleasant.
And as always, we're using the
Glencairn glasses.
Glasses, and we got our jigger, which is the 1/2 ounce jigger, and the other side's a 3/4 jigger. I might move up to the 3/4 the next pour.
Yeah, you know, you never know.
You got to be a little responsible when you're doing tastings. So you want to do a couple of bottles here. You know, we do more than one or two bottles. You want to be controlled in the tasting.
It does smell really nice.
Smells amazing. It's got a great dark amber color.
It does.
It's just very nice looking.
You definitely get that caramel and oak.
Yep, it's got nice legs.
That's really nice. That's really, really pleasant. What's your taste think? What do you think about that?
So the smell right now, the honey, the cinnamon, the clove is there.
Man, that flavor.
Oh, that is just so soft. But yet, that like the spice hits you in the back of your tongue. So it's probably that allspice and the cinnamon, the clove.
It's definitely that
oak.
Yeah, the burnt caramel.
It is a burnt caramel. Go burn some caramel, taste it, and then you'll know what we're talking about.
Just don't overdo it, otherwise it's gross. But no, it's really nice because it's like a sweet pepperiness, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right. Because then you also have that
honey's
honey
in there,
and everything like that. This is really nice.
The dark fruit,
You had to come in way later, like way in the back of the palate, and then the mint I'm getting. It's like that whiskey we had last week, where it was like just the touch of mint, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Where's that mintiness to it? And it was like the freshness of mint. That's what I'm getting. It's really nice.
There. I mean, this is really good.
It's pleasant.
And that finish is right. We were talking about the finish. It is smooth and creamy on the finish. And that butterscotch, which goes with that sweetness of the honey, and the caramel. Maybe some maple. I'm expecting, some more flavors to open up when we add that ice.
Yeah.
But wow, Metallica, man, good job.
Yeah, they did a good job.
They need to come out with a song.
Well, actually, I think we have to give props to Dave because he's the one who made the blend. So.
And what's cool about this is finished in black brandy casks. So when they finish aging, so it's aged first in your normal traditional casks, which are probably oak, but then they finish it off for a couple of years in these black brandy.
That would probably explain some of the color in there too.
Yeah, the darkness is coming from that for sure because brandy's a darker kind of. I never got into brandy.
Me either.
Yeah, it was too sweet for me. It was like cognac. I never got into cognac.
So you think that maybe dark brandy is a little bit more on the bitter side, and that's why it kind of works well with the whiskey?
Yeah, it's been so long since I even tried brandy. Although I used to have the blackberry brandy. I would keep for we make a holiday punch with it. So it was very syrupy brandy, like blackberry. It had a heavy blackberry flavor to it. So it was very sugary, which I'm not a big fan of too much of the flavored stuff in general. But man, the more I keep smelling it, like I'm really into the smell of this. It really has a great scent.
It also has changed like how it smells as we're drinking it.
Yeah, since it's been in the glass, since it's been breathing, it's definitely the flavor's opening up more.
That's really nice.
Yeah, this is so this one is $75 a bottle.
I'd say it's worth $75.
It's definitely worth $75. You have a friend out there who's a bourbon drinker or a whiskey drinker, and if you know they like Metallica or they even like that type of music,
I mean, if they like that kind of music,
it's a great talking point.
Yeah,
just to have it on a table and say, yeah, this is Metallica's whiskey. It's definitely got a great story behind it, but it's just a really good flavor.
I really like this,
and this is something I would never mix.
No. This is something that you 100% enjoy. Probably on the rocks. I'm going to say neat is for people who really want to enjoy both sides of the flavor. But I think
I just got that maple. That last sip, I just got that maple. I just got a blast of maple.
It's really nice. This is definitely one of those I think that you're going to be wanting to have on ice because it just makes sense too.
I don't know if you say blast of maple. That doesn't sound right. It's all over me. All right, let's get our ice out. Oops, sorry, man, I'm making some noises out here.
It's all right. I think they're unavoidable when you're dropping in the glass.
So, man, that whiskey fest was so much fun. We met so many good people. We met a lot of the distillers or their main like marketing people, and they all knew their whiskey. They could talk their whiskey probably all night with you.
Yeah, and give us, honestly, shout out to all of them who spent the time just talking with us. you know, about our podcast, about the passions of whiskey, about anything really. Like we went on tangents with some of them outside of what they had in front of them, yes. Right? So it really was a cool kind of bonding experience with a lot of the distilleries and everything like that.
Yeah, I know right now we're drinking the Blackened, but like I even like the fact that Keeper's Heart had their own booth outside of the main room.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool that they did that.
It was.
So when we were out there, we went out there early and it was really cool. So we'll talk about that as well when we get to them. But it was just, everyone was so friendly. You know, and you know, we had a system, if you will, right? So we talked last week. We had our top 10 for the VIP hour, which we got to most of them. I know Old Fitzgerald wasn't there.
Old Fitzgerald wasn't there, but we hit all the rest.
I think we hit all the rest,
and then we actually hit a couple extra.
Yeah, and you know it was nice because my first 2 years, I could say the VIP, I had a certain, I don't know what the right word is, but. You know, we kind of got burned the first year. That was our fault.
Yeah, that was totally
second year. When I went, I got in early, but like they either didn't have some of the VIP whiskeys that were on the list at all, and then they didn't have anything to even like make up for it, or they ran out even quickly when I was there. This year they didn't run out of VIP.
No.
In fact, look, we talked about it. VIP went into the regular hour, which was fine because you know what, we got to try them all.
Yeah,
and we didn't have to rush either, which was nice.
We got to walk around, collect cigars while we were doing it.
Yep, that was a part of our system. Like you walk by a place.
I think we were stopping and hanging out with people at tables.
Yep, we were talking to people. We made friends. That's the good thing about this event. Everyone's your best friend. Everyone. And
well, you're all there for the exact same reason.
And it's every type of people, class of people. You think about it that way. Everyone was talking. Everyone's there. Yeah. They're having a good time. They're all smoking cigars. They're all drinking.
You know what was really cool is the amount of people that it was their first year that we ran into.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I believe we were out, I think we were just out after leaving Keeper's Heart, and we were sitting at some tables, and we ended up, we were hanging out, having a cigar.
Yep.
And we were kind of just chatting who was at the table, and all four of them were their very first time, different backgrounds,
different places.
One woman, she had her own cigar shop up north.
Yep.
Two of them were dating. One was from Trinidad.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
The other one from Miami. Right. It was, and then the
two guys. One guy from Washington, D.C., and one guy from Tampa.
Yep. It was a really good, fun conversation with all of them.
I got into it with the guy from Washington.
Yeah,
D.C. a little bit because
I'm happy he held his own and didn't just like pick you up and body slam you. He was pretty big.
He was pretty big. He was. But I held my own too, though. I didn't back off.
You gave stats back.
Yeah. So if you my whiskey fans out there don't know anything about me, I am a Dallas Cowboy fan. Yes, I am the worst. And the guy sitting across from me was a Washington Commanders fan, so I made fun of him that immediately. But it was just good back and forth, and he was throwing things at me, and I was like, I got so much on you. Hold on. Let's talk about your owner. Let's talk about this. It was just like, when was the last time you made the playoffs for real? I mean, my team breaks my heart every year, but hey, they break my heart. Yeah. But no, it was fun. It was a really fun event, and we met those guys that I think they were from Iowa. We had that one table, the two guys with the beards.
Yeah,
they were really cool to hang out with.
Really cool to hang out with. Yeah,
and we met that one guy who went to the earlier sessions that we didn't go to for the cigar seminar.
He actually met us at Keeper's Heart.
Yes, he did. Yes, and his stories were kind of cool because he was going through the cigars he got to try, and they had special whiskeys for those cigars. So he had a really good time, and he also got some limited edition cigars. So that sounds like we're going to do that next year for sure.
Yeah, from what he said, it's 100% worth the cost. Just because you're getting stuff that no one else gets. Yeah. It's like anniversary ones.
Yes.
Cigars that are like $50, $60, and they're like reserved for just very specific occasions or the family themselves, right?
And what I like though is what they changed was it used to be a 2-day event where you had to be there for Friday for this part of it. They actually now put it all in one day. So that was probably one of the reasons why I didn't want to go to that extra part.
Yeah, because you have to you either have to stay down there for 2 days, or
and we live here, so I didn't want to. We don't want to have to go down there for 2 days, and that event is a shorter event. So I like the fact that they all now make it all one day.
Yeah, it's nice too, because I think it starts at like 1:30 now, and it ends at 4:30. So you basically get a chance to grab all your cigars, hang out with everybody, ask your questions in the seminars, get in line for that VIP, get in. You're not sitting there scrambling or anything like that. So that's nice.
Yeah. So that was a good time. Let me tell you something. This with ice, this Blackened with ice, the maple comes out, the butterscotch comes out.
You know what I'm actually surprised
it really sweetens up a lot, but it's a good sweet. It's not a oversweet by any means, but the sweet is there.
The thing that I'm most surprised about, the spicy stuck around.
It did. that allspice.
That almost always goes away. But that like nice kind of burnt spiciness is still there. And I know it sounds gross me describing it as burnt spiciness. I mean burnt caramel, that nice kind of savory sweet, and then those spices.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It is really good.
So I'm really enjoying this, and the finish is 100% with that honey, that maple.
Yeah.
All of that is still there in the finish, but it's just a little bit more pronounced.
Yeah,
a little bit earlier.
Yeah. No, this is, and you called it when we were drinking it neat. This is something you definitely want to have over ice. I mean, this is something where I could sit back on my porch and just chill out with a cigar and just have some good music playing, some Metallica, you know, or Metallica type music too, and just like really get into it and just enjoy it. You know, this is tasty.
This is a good whiskey.
Like this is, I'm going to call this out. This would go on my flask. Like when I'm
absolutely.
This is a great flask whiskey.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, someone was like, hey, can I have a bit of that? And they can't handle it. You know, they're not asking for you again. Right. Just give it to them straight. No, this is a really good whiskey.
That is so good. You know, and I like the bottle. I like the way the bottle looks.
It's really simple.
Yeah. This is, guys, check this out. Guys and girls out there, check it out. Go to their website. Check out the Blackened website. Get the whole story about them. And then you'll see all the other bottles that they produce. We went with the Cask strength because that was our favorite one, I think.
Yeah. When we were trying it at the Whiskey Fest.
And let me tell you, if they had more than one, we tried more than one at each one. We definitely tried more than one at each one.
Oh, no, we did.
Yeah, we definitely did that.
Well, I mean, one of the time you had me like quadruple fisting, man.
Well, yeah, you know, it was towards the end of the night, like, oh, wait, we didn't go here. You got to try this one, and this one. So I tried them last year. And like, poor T.I. here was trying, I think you had a cocktail.
I did. I had like a golden old fashioned. I had my glass filled with something else.
And the guy was giving you two more.
Yeah, and the guy from the Few.
And I'm like, drink it.
He was at the Few tent, and he started the booth, and he was just like, "Oh, you want one of these? You want some more of these?" He was just like handing me plastic cups. I was like, "Bro."
Yeah, and you know, I think that's one of the ones we really didn't get to hit with Few, and they make a great whiskey too. Nothing against them. It was just there was so much there. I mean, it was a lot. It wasn't overwhelming, but it was like.
100% we didn't get to everybody.
No.
There's no way in heck you could get to everybody.
No. And we had some surprise ones that we liked. Like I will say this right now: the Johnny Walker Rye.
That American
Rye was very
that
very
was
good.
so good.
You know, if you're looking for a rye to pick up and a rye for a gift, get that Johnny Walker Rye. There's some great ryes out there.
That might actually make an episode because it was
it's coming. It's coming. No, that was on our list.
That was really good.
Yeah, I was very impressed with them. And just great whiskeys out there. That golden old fashioned was weird.
It was.
I don't know what they did to make it.
You know, I don't even remember that. So I don't remember what whiskey it was. I remember it was like a weird cross thing. I don't remember. It might be on our list somewhere, and I might be able to look at the name and be like, "Oh yeah, that's it." But honestly, like I remember the symbol being weird. Everyone was getting these, and somebody talked Mike D and I into getting one. They were like, "Oh, you got to go over and try this."
It was that couple we met. The guy from Trinidad and the girl from Miami.
They said it was delicious, and we were like, "Well, all right."
It was bad. I mean, I was already drunk at that point. So anything would have been good.
Honestly, like I think you got the other one. I got the golden one, and I was like, "Eh." Yeah. Like it was too sweet for me.
Well, you know, when you're making an old fashioned in a big giant pitcher, and like, the way he was making it, it's not how you make it.
And it did have food grade gold flake in it, so it was ridiculously gold.
Yes.
And it was swirly and it looked cool, but like,
100%
not my cup of tea.
All right. So I think we're going to move on.
Yeah.
Ready to move on to the next part of our adventure here?
Yeah, why not? Let's do it.
All right. So we're going to bring in the Keeper's Heart. Now, these guys are cool. These guys are new to the field, if you will. Like we said, these are all new players to the field. And Keeper's Heart is based out of Minneapolis. And this is a really interesting story, okay? It was started by these cousins, Patrick and Michael. And they created this to celebrate the spirit of their family and leave a meaningful legacy for generations to come. So they wanted to start a distillery, start a whiskey business. And so what they did was they went and they were Irish. So they went back to their homeland of Ireland, and met with Master Distiller Brian Nation. Apparently, he's like one of the best distillers in Ireland. Like he probably has his hands on Bushmills and all the main players there. And this is what after meeting with him, and it was supposed to be a half-hour meeting, it ended up being like a 6-hour meeting. And after meeting with him was what kind of started to form the idea of what they wanted to produce. And what was born out of that was traditional Irish whiskeys, American Irish blends, and American whiskeys.
All of them good.
And they're all made in the traditional Irish style, which is kind of cool. And there's a distillery was built in an old potato factory in Minneapolis.
Appropriate.
And they used the classic 3 copper pot stills. And so this whole thing started back in 2014. They started making their whiskeys in 2014, but their whiskey debuted in 2021. So they, like I said, they're very new to the field.
Very new.
But when I tell you impressive, and we tried all 3 of theirs.
Yes,
we tried the Irish bourbon, the American whiskey, and it was the Irish.
It was the 10-year single malt.
10-year single malt, Irish American whiskey, Irish bourbon, and 10-year single malt. And all of them were delicious.
All of them.
All of them were great. I know we really enjoyed that Irish bourbon one because it was such a unique blend together.
It really was. And also the folks at the booth were fantastic to talk to.
Yeah, this guy named Bip. If you go to the website, you'll see his picture. Go check out the website. Bip was awesome to talk to.
Yep.
You know, he was really passionate about what he is working with and what he's doing, and they all were ultimately at the end of the day. So I'm going to up our game. We're going to do 3 quarters.
Let's do it.
All right.
Go bigger.
So you want to talk about the flavor profiles we're going to be experiencing here, Ti?
Yeah, sure. So with Keeper's Heart. This one's interesting, right? So this one's gonna kind of start off on the kind of peppery side, and then we're gonna kind of flow into kind of herbal and sweet notes, right? And then there's going to be kind of I don't want to call it, it's not a monotone finish. It's going to be an interesting kind of sweet, rich wood finish. So when I think of that, I think, I don't know, mahogany.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, that's good. Why am I closing?
I don't know why you're
closing.
closing. I don't know. Get out of here.
I'm out of control, people.
Get out of here. You're fired.
Yeah, I'm fired. So, oh wow, out of the gate, that smell. That
That's
smell.
when you get caramel in there.
Yeah, the caramel, the vanilla.
That's nice.
That herbal's in there. And this is a lighter color than the last one.
Yeah.
This has definitely a lighter amber color to it. Once again, I swirled around just like a glass of wine. You got nice little legs coming down here. I'll say these legs are a little more spread out than the other one. So you just took a little swig of that. What did you think, Ti?
Definitely. You get that pepper right up front, and it kind of swings into, oh, that's really nice. That is an herbal flavor.
Oh yeah, herbal's there. The pepper's there. Wow.
And then it kind of starts as it's winding down.
Yes.
As it's winding down, you get those other sweetness.
You get the caramel, the cocoa, the vanilla, the pecan. You definitely get that, and it's a lingering, sweet, rich taste. It sits in there for a second. It really does.
That's pleasant.
It really does. In fact, I'm going to take a little swig of water.
Yeah, get yourself cleaned out so you can try it again. Because this is, this is really good.
Clean your mouth, boy. Where's that mouth been? Well, it was at Whiskey Fest last week. Who knows? It was fun also being there because it's a Hard Rock and it's the casino, and casinos are great people watching. So we got there early. We had a couple of beers before the thing started. So it's a lighter crowd, different crowd when you get there at 3:30.
Yeah, everyone's kind of excited. They're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yeah, and then the night crowd comes in, and you get the more serious gamblers and more people there who are there to make their money for real. And you have the older people that go there that pretty much spend their entire Social Security check, if you will, and they love doing it. You had a system which was kind of cool. You helped me win some money.
I did.
You can't get it's impossible to get on a blackjack table. But plus, I shouldn't walk on a blackjack table after drinking that much.
No, you shouldn't.
I can sit at a blackjack table and drink to that point, but I can't jump onto a blackjack table at that point.
$25 was a bit rich for you. Let's just put it that way.
At that moment in time, I should only play war. I can handle a $25 table if I start there.
Yes.
And work my way up and have my and sip my whiskey as I'm playing. Yeah. I could sip half a bottle and be fine. I just can't walk onto a table like that.
Yeah.
I tried playing some kind of video blackjack, and that's impossible.
It did not work out well.
It just doesn't make sense. You can't feel the table. You can't feel the dealer, and this is because when you're at a table, you're it's not just you against the dealer. It's the table against the dealer. So the table talks to each other. They'll even tell you, don't take a hit. Sit on that. You have a 12. Don't take a hit. Because you want to outthink the dealer. If that dealer has a 14, and you feel like that next card's gonna be a high card, you sit whenever you got and make that dealer take that high card because then he'll bust. Everybody wins.
Yep.
You know, so you want to do that, and also like as you're playing too, like you tip the dealer. Sometimes you play a game where the dealer plays with you. It's a style of it's a way of playing blackjack. So sometimes you look at the dealer. You want to tip or do you want to play with me in the next hand? Because he'll let you know play your next hand. You know, and he'll kind of like almost help you a little bit. You know, so that's what you got to be at that table. That's why you can't walk into a table where I was at.
Yeah.
You know, because
you would have just thrown down money and lost.
They would have hated me. Everybody at that table would have hated me. Yeah, I'm quite sure. You know, but you kind of got the whole deal with the video things.
Yeah.
Tell me again what your full theory behind that was.
All right. So I have this thing where when you're playing the electronic games, right? They all, you know, if they're all kind of by chance, right? So they're only going to at any of these games. But you can always tell one that's going to kind of hit all right if the max jackpot is kind of high for the amount that was paid out last time. So like, let's say it's a $14,000 jackpot, right? And you're looking at it and you say, oh, the last payout, the last person cashed out, they took $1 with them. They must have lost their ass, right? So if that's the case, then you can sit at that table because within the first 5 times you play the max bet, you're going to get a lot of money back. So if you throw in 20 and it's like a 1 cent thing, right, and you're betting max bet, which is like at $3.50, you're probably going to hit like $60-$70, which that's exactly what happened to you. You dropped in your ticket, you played it twice on max bet. I think it was like $4 for that one or something like that, and then you walked away with 130.
Yeah, I did.
Right,
I did.
So
absolutely.
But the person before, they cashed out with like 2 cents.
Yeah, no, you had a good system going.
Yeah, it works.
I'll give you credit on that.
It works.
Those electronic ones, I can't. There's just like if I can't figure out how you play and how you win, other than just sitting max bet and then something happens like I won money, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't care about I don't care what it did to give me the money. I just know that that's the way it works.
Yeah, I'm like, I think that I won 160. Not one thing matched on that screen. I'm like, nothing matched. How did that win? You know, so I was watching these people play too, and I was like, this one older lady. She was like hitting the screen, talking to the screen, and like, give me this and this and this. I'm like, how do you know? It's like 5 different things.
Nothing's gonna happen.
Going across that, like, I'm like, how do you know? But yeah, it was definitely some interesting people watching going on there. That bar is kind of interesting too. That center bar. But yes, it was a good time, man.
It was more interesting after the event than it was before.
Oh yeah. And I have to admit, maybe because like last year I was by myself and I was definitely lit up. Maybe having you there kind of balanced me out too, so I wasn't a mess when I walked into the casino last year. As much of a mess.
We try to play off each other a little bit, you know. Yeah. That's how we have to do it.
This one, this Keeper's Heart is
this is fantastic.
It's $41 for this Irish bourbon whiskey, and it is very tasty. Once again, nothing I would make a drink with. Yeah, by no means.
No, this is definitely a sipper. This one I will say, and we haven't had it on ice yet. But I will say, neat, I would 100% drink this neat.
Yes.
I have zero problems with this neat. Yeah. It's a little peppery, and then it kind of mellows right out into a nice herbally sweetness. It's really
pleasant. Smell is great. So now we're moving on to our next phase, the ice phase.
I'm interested. I think when we tried it,
with ice.
They didn't have any ice.
No, and that was cool because a lot of the guys there did have ice, which was good because they know. And we were talking about that, how that flavor profile always changes. It's always going to change.
There was that one that didn't. I can't remember which one it was. But we did have one that were like, nothing changed. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, we just got a little more hydrated. That's all.
Yeah. That food was so good there, man. What was that beef dish?
Oh, the tri-tip.
Oh, man.
It was like roasted tri-tip with like mashed potatoes and something. It
was like butter.
Oh, it was so good.
I think we went back to that thing like 4 times.
Too many times.
Yeah. And then they had the lamb tacos.
Like little lamb sandwiches.
Oh man, those were really good. But the food was just so good.
Yeah, it really was.
Had some really good prosciutto and some salami. Yep. That was really good.
All of it was. Yeah, no, it's a really nice and well put together event.
So this mellows out dramatically. Not dramatic. Dramatic is the wrong word, but that peppery goes away. The pepper is no longer there in front. The herbal comes out more.
So for me, the pepper is there just lightly. It's the lightest though. It's not like it was before where you could tell there was pepper.
When I push up, when I push up against the top of my mouth, the pepper's there a little bit, but it goes away immediately.
Yeah.
But that vanilla,
it's all right there.
The pecan, that softness, that really all that soft.
Yeah, because the pepper's kind of mellowed out, it gave all those other flavors a chance to come forward.
And it's not as sweet, but it still has that vanilla. It has that, like I said, that cocoa's there. You know, and that if you ever have a pecan, that pecan has that certain soft flavor as a nut goes. Can you eat pecans?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it's, Ti has some allergies and he can't eat all nuts, but pecans you can eat.
Yeah. Okay. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
Yeah, it happens, man. These nuts. Had to go there. But wow, this is once again, just like the Blackened, you can get this for a gift for anybody. I think this would be nice for next week for St. Patty's Day.
This would be.
This would be a great St. Patty's Day whiskey if you're going to someone's house and you want to bring a gift.
Yep.
This would be a good talking point because they're new.
Just please don't let them mix it with anything.
Yeah, no, you don't mix it with anything. I would even throw soda on top of this. But I like the bottle because it has like that. It's not a what's that? The crest, the family crest, but it's a cool looking.
Yeah, it's like two hearts and a clock.
Yeah, it's a very cool looking bottle.
2 keys and a clock, I guess.
2 keys and a clock. Yeah, 2 keys and a clock, and it's got like the rook.
Yep, as like the 12 o'clock.
The 12 o'clock. Let me see what the back of the bottle says.
And again, links to all these whiskeys that we're drinking today, they'll be available at the friskywhiskey.podbean.com.
Yep.
Or at any of our episodes, we link them all there. So wherever you're listening to, you can just click on the link to any of the whiskeys that we have here.
Check that site out, whiskeys and cigars. You can get there, absolutely. Yeah, you know what's cool about the back of the bottle? It walks you through the flavors. It walks you through what you should experience. Not every bottle does that.
Yeah.
Sometimes the bottle just has a history or a story of the place, but they're walking you through the flavors. And these guys are very new to the field, and I think they're going to be around. I don't think they're going anywhere.
I really hope so.
No,
I would welcome them to stick around for as long as I'm alive. If they're making whiskey this good already.
Yeah, no, they're not going anywhere.
Right.
This would be kind of a cool visit out there in Minneapolis. And think about this: who would ever think a whiskey would come from Minneapolis?
Right.
That's why I want to do that show, to State of Whiskeys, so we can highlight different states. Like people don't realize that whiskey's everywhere. Remember, I made that joke about France. I apologized to France,
and then immediately you took it back.
I took it back. I'm a punk, But the reality is, there's so many good whiskeys out there,
really is.
Everywhere. And now that they've changed the law about bourbon, bourbon now is coming from everywhere, which is good. Because a lot of those whiskeys that weren't being called bourbons were bourbons at the end of the day. And this is really tasty. And I'm actually going to pick up one of their other bottles. I want to get that 10-year-old single malt that they have.
Yeah, I'm going to try to find that myself.
Yeah.
That one. So I liked all of them. I'm not going to lie and say I didn't. But the single malt had just a special thing to it. It was like as old as they have gotten it, right? So like they tapped that bottle this year. They had to have, right? Like,
yeah.
Because we were doing the math on it when the dude said 2014. We were like, how do you have a 10 year?
How do you have a 10 year? But it makes sense if they started. And they probably were making whiskeys before 2014 as a family. Yeah. And they probably, because of their Irish heritage, was already done some of their research on how to do it the traditional Irish way. And probably meeting with that master distiller, Brian Nation, which I should have looked up his name and see what he's involved with in Ireland, because apparently he's like the guy in Ireland to go talk to. If you're gonna make whiskey and meet somebody, that's the guy you go talk to. Yeah. Brian Nation. It must have been a fun trip for that family. And like I said, the guy Bip was really cool to talk to.
It really was.
The whole event was just cool to talk to people. It really was. We had a good conversation with Widow Jane.
Oh yeah,
we talked about the French whiskey with him.
Yep. Which they actually had there.
They had two there. They actually had both. They had
both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and he explained to us that originally they were the first importers of it.
Yeah.
And now it's gotten they made a name for themselves, and now other places are importing them.
Yeah.
Why we're able to find it at Total Wine. But Widow Jane was always one of my favorites, and I'll be honest, it was hard for me not to pick up a bottle of Widow Jane for tonight's show. I struggled even when I picked up the Calumet. I struggled. I was because they had that Widow Jane bourbon. They had that bourbon,
which is really good.
Which normally all my Widow Jane experience has been ryes. Yeah. And that 10-year-old VIP bourbon was quite tasty.
It was very tasty.
Which you can't get anywhere, which I hate when they do that to me.
Except up in New York, right?
Up in New York. You have to go to New York. So we're going to have to take a trip to New York.
We have a lot of trips that we have to take.
Yeah, we have a lot of trips we want to take. But New York, if you don't know anything about New York has, especially upstate New York, you can pretty much almost do like how they have the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. Yeah. You can actually do a whiskey trail upstate New York, Hudson Valley area.
It's the Hudson Valley.
You can probably spend 2 days or even 3 days and hit like probably 9 different distilleries.
That's a good point. That's something that we've talked about doing quite a bit.
We've had the Hudson. The Hudson's really good. Remember, I had that bacon washed rye that was really good. And they have a lot of other ones out there. And when I went there for a wedding, I went to a local liquor store and they had them all. Yeah. So it was funny. My wife thought I was nuts. I literally bought like 6 bottles of whiskey.
Yeah.
And she's like, "How are you gonna get them home?" I go, "We're gonna ship the clothes home." And it's going in the suitcase. Like, how do you think they're coming home? Like,
obviously.
And we literally put my clothes in a box and we shipped it back home and threw these things in towels. Maybe I stole some towels from the hotel. I don't know.
Maybe not. Who knows?
Who knows?
I'll hearsay.
Yeah, I'll hearsay. But I wrapped all these bottles up in towels and whatever clothes I didn't ship back, and because you get that 50-pound weight limit for your thing. So I didn't come home with all 6. I remember I gave one to my niece's husband. What is he, like a nephew-in-law? Is that how that works?
I don't know how it works.
I don't think that works. I don't think there's such thing as a nephew.
I get lost after like grandma, grandpa.
Yeah. Brother-in-law I get, but I gave him a bottle, and I think I drank a bottle with my cousins while I was there. I came home with some really, really good whiskeys. Yeah. And we talked about it. We definitely want to check that out. But I think everywhere you go, you can probably find a decent whiskey trail.
Yeah, I think so. Or at least, enough whiskeys where you can get a flavor of the area or the region.
Yeah.
Right. And get a cool story about how they got going.
Yeah.
And especially now, take into consideration what we're drinking today, right? Mm-hmm. So we've had the Blackened 2012.
That's out of Ohio.
We have Keeper's Heart right here, 2014.
Minneapolis.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Right? Minnesota. So, if you're thinking about it, how we're kind of moving along, in the States here at least, with whiskey, it wouldn't surprise me if we could go to any state and have, like a 50-mile type of thing, kind of like up in Kentucky where you have, the original, 12, I think it is, right? Mm-hmm. The original 12 right there on row, but then there's also, if you take a 40-minute drive or something outside the city, there's another one that's there from some of the other more rural ones.
Right. We definitely hit Texas, Colorado, Kansas, because that's absolutely. Back in the day. They all made whiskey back in those days. And we had some great food for tonight, don't we?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So I went and so for those of you who live in Florida, most of you are transplants. You're a transplant. I'm a transplant. You're a transplant. Wouldn't you want to be a transplant too? But I'm from New York. He's from Massachusetts. But everyone's from Chicago, Pittsburgh. Probably a good, stronger New York presence here. So we actually did some pizza tonight. There's nothing better than whiskey munchy food than pizza. Yeah, when it comes right down to it,
especially good combo pizza.
Good combo pizza we had tonight, and over the last 15, 20 years, pizza's gotten a lot better in South Florida. We have a lot more, better New York style pizza. I can name up a couple of, Gardens Pizza. That guy's awesome. Angelo's out in Jupiter's is awesome. But where I went to tonight to get this pizza, this is what I call Florida pizza. It's only in Florida, although you have a little story to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in a second too. But it's a Florida homegrown pizza. It's not like a pizza you're going to get out of New York. It's not they're not even trying to be a New York style pizza. Yeah. And they've been around since 1975.
That's a hot minute.
That's a long time for this type of pizza. And we had gotten meatball, pepperoni, mushrooms, onions, and peppers, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a round pizza, but how they cut it, they don't cut it triangle. No. They do that crisscross thing where it's all squares,
square rectangles.
When I was a kid growing up, you always fought for the four corner pieces because those were always the best pieces because it was the closest thing to look like a New York pizza. But their crust it's a crispy crust but kind of buttery. Mm-hmm. But it's an old school Florida pizza, and people, a lot of people from New York are gonna stub their nose right when I said that, right? Mm-hmm. Florida pizza. And I get it. I'm a snob.
Just gotta give it a try.
I'm a pizza snob. I'm a cheese snob. But this is a great pizza. When I first moved here as a kid, which I'm not going to say when, but it was probably a couple years after they opened, 79. When we first moved to Florida, there was no New York style pizza anywhere, and this was our first introduction to pizza in Florida, and we had no idea what the hell was going on. We opened it up to confused? Look how they cut it. That's different. And but it grew on us, and it's a good pizza.
It is.
It's just a good Florida.
It's my first time having it, and I can agree. It's very good.
And you mentioned something about that. What did it remind you of?
Yeah. So that from my hometown growing up, there's a place called Central Pizza, and to me, it's the best pizza in Massachusetts. It's probably not, but to me, it was, right? So having this pizza this evening, it's like the exact same cut, exact same type of crust, like everything was identical, and even the down to the flavor, and it just brought back like a whole bit of nostalgia of Central Pizza that I haven't had in, I don't know, probably a decade at this point.
So I'm going to call them tomorrow. Palm Springs Pizza. I want to know where their roots are from. Because I was, like I said, everyone's a transplant from Florida. Yeah. There's no such thing. I mean, look, there are such things as true Floridians, but I want to see if their actually roots came from maybe Massachusetts or something like that, where maybe that's where that whole idea was born from. Maybe they're from the same town where you're talking about. Because it is a good pizza. I really enjoyed it. We had some before the show. We're gonna have some after the show, obviously. Absolutely. You know, and we also had a nice Greek salad. Yep. They were famous for their Greek salads. You know, I think back in the late 70s, Greek wasn't a big thing in terms of you had to go. If you've had a Greek restaurant in '79 in Florida, you're probably had to go to Miami, right? So they were famous for their pizza and their Greek salad. And that's every time we went there, that's what we got.
And 100%, it's not a fancy salad. It's just a really well done.
It's just good salad with
crispy bunch lettuce and good sized tomato chunks.
Tomato chunks, a ton of feta cheese in there, ton, and they had the little pepperoncinis in there. No, but it's just good old. And to me, it's just good old fashioned Florida pizza. Yeah, which is funny to say it that way. Good old fashioned Florida pizza.
But I mean, technically 75 that can be considered old fashioned. That's 58 years or something, right?
Yeah. I asked the guy when I picked it up today. I was like, "How long?" Because I had to drive. Like I live in Palm Beach Gardens, and I had to drive during rush hour. All right, so I battled. It was almost close to insanity. I'm not gonna lie. It took me. It's a 20-minute drive any given time. It took me 50 minutes to get there to get this pizza. I was on a mission.
That's a long time.
It was like almost like that movie Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Yeah. This was Mike D going to Palm Springs Pizza. Yeah. You know, but it took me. Funny thing was going south, and you live down here. Going south at rush hour is insane.
Yeah, no, it's you just don't do it.
But going north to come home, it took me 18 minutes to get home.
Yeah,
like it literally. So it was over an hour for this whole thing for me to make this happen. But most of it was me getting there.
Yeah,
just getting there, and you know, I have no patience. I flipped off at least 4 or 5 people. You know, I drove by people with the stare. You know, even on my way home, I had no patience. Man. Even though traffic was awesome, I had no patience. You know, it was just, but it was well worth the trip. I would do it again.
I want to go back.
I always look for a reason to go there. Whenever I do something going south, I do something down south. If there's something where I know I can pick up some food on the way home, chances are we'd stop by there and grab some pizza or eat there. You know, and funny things too. It's no longer in Palm Springs. They moved. So I forgot what year they moved, but they used to be off of, if you know you're South Florida, 10th Avenue and Congress, which is Palm Springs. Mm-hmm. They moved actually a little north from there, which now they're off of Forest Hill and Congress. And that's actually kind of the Green Acres beginning. Yeah. But so technically speaking, they're not in Palm Springs anymore, but it's still Palm Springs Pizza.
Yeah. It's got to be Palm Springs Pizza, man.
Yeah. All right. So T.I., what's our next bottle?
Oh, boy. So this is actually one that I've been looking forward to. So this is the Calumet 10-year Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. So now when we went to Calumet, like they had 3 or 4 different ones. This one, hands down, was the winner for us at the Calumet booth. Like we tasted it, we were like, this has an amazing flavor. Like it just is smooth. Yeah. Like it had all the right things for a good, 10-year-old bourbon.
I'm doing the Homer Simpson thing right now. I'm almost drooling. Like, I mean, it was such a good, and you know, these guys have an amazing story. Like when I looked up their history, like I was expecting something. First of all, they're once again like the other two. They're new players into the whiskey bourbon fields, right? These guys started making their whiskeys back in 2013. All right. But they were making it for themselves for a long, long, long time. But what these guys are famous for, what these guys have a history on, and to me, when I get into it, I'm going to explain what I'm about to say. This is nobility. Okay? So these guys established their farm. William Monroe Wright established this Calumet farm in 1924. A small farm in Lexington, Kentucky. Okay? After his death in 1933, his son Warren began to move the farm business towards thoroughbred racing. Okay, so if you go back to those time periods, right, 1930s, that was during the Great Depressions, right? That's when, people were desperate, right? They would go to a horse race and bet their whatever money they had in their pocket.
Well, that's kind of like Peaky Blinders time, but out there.
Yeah, exactly. Which I'm watching that right now. It's a great series on Netflix. Check it out. Over the decades, they actually had started producing winners. So they produced 2 Triple Crown winners, 8 Kentucky Derby winners, 8 Pekingese winners. And then in 2013, they launched their small batch bourbon. But these guys were breeding champion horses. And that to me is like, that's like the nobility of America. Yeah. That's like, horse racing is a thing in America, right? It's people don't watch football, they watch the Super Bowl. Everybody watches the Kentucky Derby. When it goes on, it's on TV, right? It's a mystique, they want to see all these women in their hats, the big things, the big drink, the
mint juleps.
The mint juleps, which, when that comes time, when Kentucky Derby comes, I'll make it my mint julep. We're going to make it for you guys. And if you make a mint julep, if it's not crushed ice, it's not a mint julep. That's how I make a mint julep. But, to this day, they still produce champion thoroughbreds. In 2019, they led in the total money earnings as a farm.
That's crazy.
So they're still in it, and so their 10-year-old bourbon is crafted in 50 barrel batches.
Wow.
And it's to showcase the development of the traditional high rye mash bill they use. But I just feel like with these guys, there's a history here. Like the bourbon history is young, but their history themselves, the horse history. I had an aunt who lived in Long Island. She owned a racehorse. Oh, and I remember her horse came in third twice at the Pekingese. That's big.
That is big.
I just remember how big. I remember going when I was a kid. They would take me to their farms, with all the different horses they had, and it's a different world in the horse world. It's like I said, to me, it's a very noble, especially thoroughbred racing. It's a very noble thing. It's look how they treat them now. The horses get they put the thing around the horses. Yeah. You hear the story about the horse. It's pretty cool. So I'm excited because of the history of this. And now this bottle is going to be at the $75 mark. So we're back where Blackened was.
Yeah.
So we went 75, 41, 75. And now we already know. Places to be. We already know that we were so excited about this.
Yes.
Now, they have an 8-year-old that was really good.
Yeah, the 8-year-old was really good.
We almost bought that too, and we decided.
That was in hand.
It was in hand. It was in hand, but we put it back. So I was like, you know what? Even though we liked that 8-year-old,
just
10-year-old was
the one.
It was the one.
So our tasting notes for this one, and this is the reason why I think we liked it so much, right? This one, immediately, there's not a ton of the spiciness, right? So Keepers was peppery up front. Blackened was burnt caramel and oak, right, along with some of that allspice and clove. The Calumet, caramel, toffee, vanilla, leather, wood char, toasted honey, and cinnamon. So you're going to have that nice buttery sweetness, some vanilla in there. You're going to have some nice little flavors from that leather and the wood char, right? And then you're going to smooth it right out with that nice sweet kind of toasted honey and cinnamon flavor. Now the finish on this, right after we're done, after you drink it, might get a little bit of spice, right, from oak, but there's also going to be complemented by some soft baking spices.
Let me tell you something. I just took a taste. That leather's there. So it's how do you tell somebody what that leather tastes like? Well, just chew on your shoe. No.
No. Have you ever smelled fresh leather?
Yeah,
have you smelled leather?
It has that smell is in your mouth now. Yeah. This is bourbon, right? So it's got it's light. It's once again a light amber.
Mm-hmm. It's not as dark as the Blackened.
The Blackened was the darkest. I'm going to say it's probably a little bit darker than the Keeper's Heart. Yeah, it's a little. But the smell is so.
So the smell to me, right on the right up front, you can 100% smell the alcohol.
Yeah.
Right. It's like
exactly
the first thing, but if you keep pulling in a little bit, you start getting some of the caramels. Mm-hmm. And you do get some of the cinnamon.
I would say all three of these have very similar legs when you swish it around the glass. I
really do.
It's just I mean that leather, that wood char, to me because it's from Kentucky, bourbon. This is what their jockeys would drink before and after probably the race.
Yeah.
Take a shot of this and then go win me a race, boy.
Slap the horse on the ass. Let's go. But yeah, no, I mean, so the initial, right, there is that of any bourbon.
There's that oak in there. The cinnamon's there.
So with any bourbon, right, there's that initial kind of pop, right, of the alcohol. But then as soon as you get past that, all the flavors start kind of creeping in. The caramel and the toffee and vanilla. It's really well complemented right in the beginning, right?
Yep.
Oh, this is so good. I remembered now why we liked it so much.
Yes.
I will say, though, like the Blackened, this would be one on the rocks, 100%.
You haven't gotten there yet? I agree. I think...
Just calling it.
Yeah, I think neat, you maybe do a small little bit of neat. If that's all you're going to have is one, maybe do one neat. But if you're going to sit there and want to chill out, like on my patio or your patio, or you're at a party, you want to sip some whiskey, and look, all three of these are great gifts. If someone likes whiskey, you got them any one of these, they would think you're the greatest person that ever walked in the house. Probably got them the best gift of anybody who brought them a gift that day. But
the Calumet bottle looks cool too.
The Calumet bottle, because it has the horse on it. It looks like it has.
I like
history.
the blue. It has the blue and the gold.
It just has. It looks like it has that history. Like this farm has been around. Like I would love to go tour this place. Like go hang out with the horses. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna. Hang out with the horses. Like, hey, Buttercup, come here. Actually, what I read about them too is they were rivals of Seabiscuit and was the other horse that was a big horse back then, Man of War.
Okay.
They have 11 horses in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So I mean, these guys are for like in terms of
real,
thoroughbred. These guys are a real deal. Like these guys took on Seabiscuit. You ever saw that movie Seabiscuit when Spider-Man was riding the horse?
Yes. No idea how we got there.
But it's just. But this is like a bourbon. This is. Not that these. I mean, look, those are great whiskeys, but this is definitely.
This is definitely like the next step.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is really good. I like it how it's in batch size and 50 barrels only. So, and then probably why it's $75 because less of a supply. All right, let's move on to the ice.
Yeah, we got to try this with ice. I got to prove you or me right. I guess you agreed with me, so I can't really be proving you wrong.
Argue with you know what you're talking about, Ti. Amateur.
Dare challenge me?
Throw the cork at me. Bam! Meet you outside for a duel.
Bro, you were just going to straight pour into mine.
I was.
Like, here you go.
Give you that few treatment.
Just top you off right here. Perfect.
So now what the big decision now is, Ti, because we're getting kind of close to the end of the evening here, is which one are we going to have with our cigar tonight? Which is our victory cigar tonight?
Well, we are having the Arturo Fuente, right? The Don Carlos.
Which is a very nice cigar. It's actually it's a stick that I've smoked before. I'm not a cigar guy, but I like cigars, and I've had that one. I like the Don Carlos series.
I say I'm probably going to start with the Calumet.
Oh my god! So with the ice.
Yeah.
I'm like I just made that. If you saw me right now, I just kind of almost like I just ate something for the first time that was just so good. The flavors are still there. Some got lighter, but all those flavors, the toffee, the caramel, the vanilla, the leather's still there. That wood char, but it softened them, but they haven't gone away.
No,
that's what I like. That's what we liked about this. I think we had this on ice, if I remember correctly, and I think that's what really was like. Wow. Like that's why we really like this.
It almost this one actually became a little like silky on the palate, right? It's kind of like
it softens it where it's like this swallows easily. It goes down just hits your tongue perfectly. Oh man, like this would go great with a steak. I'll be honest with you, or a good center cut pork chop or a good veal chop.
Something seasoned with salt and pepper only.
Yeah. Nothing, no crazy seasonings. Just old fashioned salt, pepper. Sear that puppy up. Maybe a little butter on top. A little butter.
Go with them Oscar,
Yeah, Oscar's good too. A little crab stuff on top. I know we're going out to dinner in a couple of weeks, and we're looking forward to that.
I think we're hyping ourselves up.
Yeah, we're definitely now have to go Oscar style when we go out. But no, this is really really good. This is amazing. So I know we're getting towards the end of the evening. I always like to talk about the Frisky Corner.
Yeah. What do we got going on, Mike D?
So, obviously, this weekend we're not going to talk about because our show doesn't come out till next week. But so I know the weekend of the 18th, out in Royal Palm Beach, they have the Seafood Fest. That should be a really good time. A lot of different seafoods, a lot of stuff to eat out there. And then the week after that, they on the weekend of the 24th, they're doing out in Wellington, which is another out west. They're doing the Bacon Bourbon Fest. Now, we're going to try and get out there. I don't know if we can make it out there on this one. We
might. We might not. We probably won't.
We probably won't because we got some things going on that weekend already. We have a special show that coming weekend too, which we'll talk about that next week as well. But it's been going on for a couple times. I think we talked about Bacon Bourbon Fest last week. Yeah. We've been burned. So I don't know if we're going to make it to that one. Maybe we'll talk to some people who go and get some highlights from them on it. But also what's going on right now too. I mentioned it last week. You got spring training going on. You got the ballpark of the Palm Beaches where Houston and Washington plays. A little farther north of them in Jupiter, you got the Mets and Cardinals playing
over at the Roger Dean Stadium.
Roger Dean Stadium. Go check out a game, everybody. They're fun. Spring training's awesome. Did you see the spring training game with Will Ferrell in Chicago? Wherever Chicago does their spring training, Will Ferrell came out as a surprise first base coach. And you know how to do the signs? Oh, he actually walked out with a sign. He actually had the sign in his hand. It was so funny. He's like, "Don't pull a muscle." It was funny. It was funny. But that's what spring training's about. Yeah. And they have that new rule now. I don't even know about this in baseball. They actually now have a pitch count now. So
yeah.
So like with football, you have that 30-second clock, and in basketball, you have the 30-second clock and all that. They now have a clock, and supposedly it's actually working, where games are almost being done in under 2.5 hours.
Because then before, the pitcher or whoever could just stand there and keep watching first base, keep watching second. And
there's a rule about that. They can only throw to first base, I think, 2 times now.
Yeah.
So they had to do that. I think, with the new generation right now, the millennials and Gen Zs and Gen Xs.
If you take that out.
All of them together.
I think if you even take that out, the game, most games don't last forever, right? Like most sporting events, right? They're over within a couple hours.
And the funny thing is, you go to a game, it's not like watching on TV. Yeah. When you're watching on TV, it can get slow and mundane. And, take a little nappy in the middle of the game. But when you're at the game, you don't feel that.
Yeah. But I also don't want to be there for 5 hours.
No.
I want to be entertained, but then I also want to do other things with my day.
Okay, so we're getting close to the end of the show here. So the cigar night, Victory Cigar is going to be
the Arturo Fuente Don Carlos.
Okay, and once again, you get from our friends out in Arizona, foxcigars.com. Yeah. They have a great online presence. I mention that every time. Sign up for their mailing list. Get on there. Get great deals every single day.
Free shipping on every order.
Free shipping, yeah. And these guys do a great job out there. Good friends of mine. Good friends of yours. Little Donnie Brasco out there is a friend of mine and a friend of yours. If he's a friend of mine, he's good. But check them out. We got some great whiskeys tonight. There'll be links on our site to get to them. Check these whiskeys out. Enjoy them all. Can't go wrong with. You took a dart and threw it at any one of them, you can't lose.
Nope.
And these are all new. Like I said, we kind of decided to go with the more new players to the game.
I think it was a way to go. Honestly, it was way a lot of fun introducing new people.
Yes.
To the podcast.
Yes. So everybody out there, have a great evening and enjoy your whiskeys and have a great night. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Have a good evening.